Most people believe their biggest financial mistake will be something dramatic, a bad investment, a market crash, a risky business decision. But in reality, the biggest financial mistake most people make is far quieter. It rarely feels like a mistake at all. In fact, it often looks like normal life, a normal job, normal spending, normal habits. And that is exactly why it is so dangerous. Because by the time people realize what the mistake was, years have already passed. Psychologists call this the illusion of progress. Humans often believe they are moving forward simply because they are busy, working, earning, consuming. But activity is not the same as progress. And in the world of personal finance, this confusion quietly traps millions of people for decades. To understand the biggest money mistake, we first need to understand a simple but uncomfortable reality. The financial system does not reward effort alone. It rewards leverage, it rewards ownership, and most importantly, it rewards time. Yet many people unknowingly spend the most valuable financial decade of their lives doing the opposite. Consider a simple timeline. A person graduates in their early 20s. They find their first job. Income begins. Expenses follow immediately. Rent, transportation, food, entertainment. At first, nothing seems alarming. Life feels stable. But here is the hidden mechanism that very few people talk about. The first decade of income is not just another phase of life. It is the foundation of everything that comes after. And small decisions made during this period compound for the next 40 years. This is where the biggest money mistake quietly appears, not investing early, or more precisely, delaying ownership. Many people assume serious investing begins later, after promotions, after income increases, after life feels financially comfortable. But the mathematics of time tells a very different story. The financial system is built around compound growth. This simple relationship reveals something counterintuitive.
In other
Time
words,
matters more
starting
than intensity.
earlier is often more powerful than investing larger amounts later. Yet most people do the exact opposite. They postpone. They wait for the right moment. The problem is that the right moment rarely arrives. Life becomes more complex over time. Careers demand more attention. Families introduce new responsibilities. Financial commitments grow. And suddenly the flexibility that existed in the early 20s disappears. This leads to a strange paradox. When people have the most time, they usually invest the least. When they finally begin investing seriously, they have much less time for growth to work. The mistake is not obvious in the beginning. In fact, it often feels responsible. People focus on stability. They build careers. They increase lifestyle comfort. But slowly, something else happens. Lifestyle inflation. As income rises, spending rises alongside it. A slightly nicer apartment, a newer car, more convenient services, better restaurants. None of these choices are inherently irrational. Each one feels reasonable on its own, but together they create a powerful financial inertia. Higher income becomes locked into higher expenses, and once a lifestyle becomes normal, reversing it becomes psychologically difficult. Economists sometimes describe this as the consumption treadmill. You run faster, but your position does not change. From the outside, income appears to increase, but internally, financial progress feels strangely stagnant. This is why the biggest money mistake is rarely a dramatic failure. It is a pattern of postponing ownership, postponing investing, postponing financial awareness. Meanwhile, the system continues operating quietly in the background. Assets grow, businesses expand, markets compound. Those who participate early benefit from decades of growth. Those who delay must rely almost entirely on future income, and income alone has limits. Even high salaries are constrained by time and energy. Ownership, however, is not. Ownership scales. A business can grow without your direct labor. An investment can compound while you sleep. A productive asset can generate income indefinitely. This difference between earning and owning defines most financial outcomes over long periods of time.
but it is rarely emphasized during early adulthood. Instead, many people are taught a simpler narrative: work hard, earn more, spend responsibly, save when possible. While this advice is not wrong, it is incomplete because saving alone does not create exponential growth. Saving preserves value. Ownership multiplies it. This distinction becomes especially important during periods of inflation. Over long timelines, purchasing power naturally declines. Prices rise, currencies lose value, and idle savings slowly lose real strength. Historically, the individuals who protect themselves from this process are those who own productive assets, businesses, equity, real estate, innovative technologies. In other words, participation in the economic engine itself. Yet the biggest financial mistake prevents many people from ever entering that system early enough. They remain observers rather than participants, not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack discipline, but because the cost of waiting is invisible in the beginning. There is no immediate penalty, no warning signal, just the slow disappearance of time. And time, once lost, cannot be reinvested. This is why the biggest money mistake rarely appears dramatic. It looks ordinary. It blends into daily routines. It hides behind busy schedules and rising paychecks. And only later, sometimes decades later, does the pattern become clear. The real financial divide is not always between people who earn more and people who earn less. It is often between people who begin early and those who begin later. Which brings us back to the uncomfortable truth from the beginning. Most people fear making the wrong investment, but the biggest mistake is often something much quieter: waiting too long to begin. Because in the world of finance, the most powerful force is not knowledge, not effort, not even income. It is time. And the moment someone realizes that truth, a different question begins to emerge. If time is the most powerful asset you have, why do so many people spend the first decade of their financial life acting as if it doesn't matter?